Hey you guys, my name is Stina and welcome to another episode of my knitting podcast. As mentioned, I'm Stina. I'm coming to you from Gothenburg in Sweden, and we have my dog here as well, Linus. And today is knitting episode 3. First of all, I just want to say that I hope that you all had a good Easter. I just got back to my apartment in Gothenburg. I've been spending the weekend with my parents and my family. It's been very nice. I have also the previous week gotten a lot of celebration in because it was my birthday week, and I got taken out to dinner twice and lunch twice, and it's been a lovely week. But it has not been super much knitting done. Due to all the celebrations and other fun stuff. That's okay, but I did get some time to knit this weekend. I'm very happy with that, and yeah, let's just start with my finished object. For this week I have one finished object. It's my second ever Musselburgh hat. It's made in a garn called Freya Fluffy. It's bought in a store called Self-Made, and it contains acrylic and mohair. The one thing that got me to choose this garn is the lovely blue color. I love this cobalt blue shade. And yeah, I mentioned this is my second one. I did do one before, but that was made from scrap yarn, so I did not have enough to make it as long as I wanted. Even though I wanted to fit snug on my head, I still want that thick brim to make it feel extra cozy. So now I was able to do it a little bit longer, and perhaps it also got a little tiny bit too big. But let me try it for you so you can see. Here we have it. It's just like a tiny bit loose around the head, and I think I would not have mind if it weren't for my glasses. I'm a pretty new bearer of glasses. It's new to me, so I have not really figured these stuff out, that when it's like when the hat is open around here, the wind blows in and you get cold ears. Nothing that I have or I have never thought about that before because I never wore glasses before. But yeah, otherwise I'm very happy with the length of it. As I mentioned, it fits snugs to my head, or it doesn't have that extra part, you know, that stands up. But I do have a thick cozy brim, so I have several layers covering my ears. That's very nice. And again, I love the color. And that's my only finished project for this week. So let's move on to some work in progresses. This one we have talked about before. This is my mix up of the Nomad jacket and the Double Trouble Kids jacket, both from Bull & Beyond. I were planning to do the Nomad jacket, but I have a yarn that is made for carpets, so it's quite stiff, and that didn't look very good in the honeycomb brioche stitch that the Nomad jacket should have. But she has also released a kids version that was done with garter stitch. So I decided to do the sizing of the Nomad jacket, but the stitching of the Double Trouble Kids jacket. And last time we spoke, I mentioned that I wanted to rip out almost the whole back piece, except from the double knitting. And I had come quite a long way on my first front piece. So since that, I have actually ripped out the whole back piece. So everything from this, or including this I-cord and everything you see here in the back, I have knitted a second time around. I finished the front piece that I was working on when we last spoke, and I finished the other front piece. So I'm actually quite happy about how long I have come with this one, since it is getting a bit warmer and we do have some like spring feelings in the air. I think it would be nice to get this done very soon, so I still will get a chance to wear it this season. But it is also a long process, I think, before it is completely done, because I have planned not only to knit this. When I have finished the knitting, I want to dye it into a sage green color, and after I have dyed it, I want to go and buy some lining and sew a lining for it, so that it will not get like stuck. If you have a sweatshirt or something underneath, it won't get stuck. It will be like smooth to put on, and also perhaps a tiny bit more windproof. So yeah, I have done a lot, but there's still much to do, but I'm excited about it. Otherwise, I have also started a t-shirt. I actually started to do a couple of swatches the other week of my banana silk cone, and just to figure out like how I would like my fabric and get the gauge to be able to design my own t-shirt. And as you probably can see, today I'm wearing a super oversized t-shirt. This is my go-to outfit. This is my like everyday armor. I love wearing super size shirts, sweatshirt, t-shirts, button-up shirts, all the shirts super oversized. And of course then I wanted to knit one of my own. And I'm also planning to do some color work details on it. But I did a swatch with one strand and a 3mm needle. But I did not really like how that turned out, even though it's super drapey, super soft, super nice. It did not look very neat and quite holy. And I don't have any smaller needles, and it was like a pain in the ass to do that swatch with such a small needles. And this yarn is so soft, it's so lovely, but it's so slippery. Like you really have to hold on to the yarn, otherwise your knitting's all over the place. And I felt from just making that small piece that this is gonna hurt my hands. So then I did a new swatch with 2 strands of yarn and a 4mm needle. And this one I have blocked as well, but I think that it was not 100% what I was going for. I'm like, it's still drapey, but I do prefer the feeling of the first one. But keeping in mind that it will be a long time knitting and I want to be sustainable and keep my hands working, I have decided to go with a double strand and a 4mm needle. So once I had my swatch done, blocked and dried, I took measurements of one of my favorite t-shirts, and then I just sat down and did some math, and I have casted on the t-shirt. And this is how far I have come. So I'm doing a drop shoulder. I have started from the neck. It's rolling like crazy. I've started from the neck, done a lot of increases, and I'm actually finished with all my increases. So I'm just gonna knit a little bit further before I pick up stitches for the front pieces. And then of course I can join in the round under the arms. So looking forward until I can have some just stockinette in the round with this one. Even though it's more comfortable with the double thread, it's still a very slippery yarn. Jag gör det, Linus. Anyhow, it's still a slippery yarn. I still got to like tension it quite hard around my fingers or like hold on to it so it doesn't like get away from me. So I do look forward to, as I said, connecting it around. I think it will be more comfortable. And for my last work in progress, or the last one that has gotten any work this week, I actually have a crochet project. As I have mentioned before, last year and the year, like perhaps the year before that as well, I was super into crochet. I always did my own design. Like I could see something in the store and be like, oh, I want that, and then I just crocheted it up. And one thing that I have had in mind since last summer is that I want to do a granny square A-line dress. I think it will be really cute to have like on top of a white t-shirt and perhaps some Doc Martens to pair with it. And color is not really my thing perhaps, but I do have a lot of this green color over here. I have so much of it. It's a cotton yarn, also from Self-Made, and the yarn brand is Freya. And I have so much of it, so I do need to use it. And I have some scraps of other colors as well. So I thought, let's just do a lot of granny squares, and then I will connect them like continuously with black to make me feel a bit more comfortable. So I will do a bunch of these squares, then I will be able to connect them like crochet as I go, and build it into a dress. So perhaps I will do a bunch, connect them, do a bunch, connect them, because I did like that when I did my shirt, and that was quite satisfying and also quite nice to be able to shift between what you were doing and not always need to think about the color changes and so on. But I have found a pretty neat way to shift colors when I do my granny squares. So this is the back side. I will have some trimming to do, but this end is already secure, these are secured, and this one I will secure once I go over with black. So in the end, I will have no ends to weave in. If you are curious to see how I do that, please let me know, and I would love to share it with you, because it makes doing things with granny squares so much easier. Those were the projects that I have worked on since I filmed last, and I do have some acquisitions as well. As I mentioned, I celebrated my birthday this week, turning 31, and I got some yarn from my brother. I got a couple of this one and one of these. They are both the same type of yarn, and they are from a bookstore called Adlibris. It's a really nice shop. They have a lot of different things, not only books, so that's very nice. And the yarn brand is Create with Adlibris, and this yarn is called Socky Linen, and it's a superwash wool and linen mix, so 80% wool and 20% linen, and this color is called Nature, and this very vibrant orange one is called Mustard. And I do enjoy, like in this color you can kind of see, I'm guessing it's the linen that you can see poking through the orange. It looks very rustic and very like woolly, but it's actually very soft. So yeah, I think this is a great yarn, and I really look forward to work with them. And as soon as I got this one, or these two, I instantly started to think about the Lonely Leftovers vest from Wool and Beyond. So I actually bought a couple more of this one. I have no idea about like the yardage or the gauge or anything you need for that vest. I haven't bought the pattern, but that was what I started to think about when I got this yarn. So I'm thinking this as a base. In the samples that Elin has made, she has a contrasting color for the brim and a bow tie, or a bow that you tie your vest together with. English. But yeah, and for that one I actually bought some of these from Drops Charisma in the color 86. So this is 100% wool, but I just thought that these would look very pretty together. I think this is a very good neutral, not like leaning very warm or cold. And then this soft kind of sage green together. I think it will look nice. And sage green, or all shades of green that are a bit muted, is my favorite color ever, if we don't count black. But like my sofa is sage green. I have some like drawers that are sage green. I have a lot of like shirts in sage green. My like duvet cover, I don't remember the name, the bed linen, they are sage green. I love it. So yeah, I think this will be a really good combination. So I'm looking forward to start on that sometime soon. Great with the linen content in this one for the warmer seasons. Will probably be too warm still to use during like hot summer, but you never know. Here in Sweden we might not even get any. Yeah, those were the acquisitions. Otherwise I have done some more swatches since the last time I filmed. In my last episode I showed some cotton wool blend yarn, and I have swatched those to see what they look like. So I have one thinner one, or a thinner yarn, and this one I have swatched with a needle size of 3.5 millimeter. Looks like this: 50% cotton, 50% wool, very soft, quite drapey. It looks quite nice. You do get those like kind of stripes that you can get with superwash yarn, but I think it's okay. The plans for this one is also a vest. I have not 100% decided which one yet, but nice to have the gauged swatch, so I can just like get going when I find the one that I want to do. And then I also made a swatch in the bit thicker yarn, still 50-50, cotton and wool. And I swatched this in a needle size 4 millimeter. So I have this one both in grey and black, and I am planning to do sweatshirts with them, like everyday crew neck sweatshirts. So also nice to have the swatch done when I'm having time to cast on a new project. It's just to cast on and go. But just like a super random thing, I don't know if like a lot of people do this when they do swatches, but I saw it on a YouTube channel once and I thought it was a brilliant idea. Whenever I make a swatch, even though of course I take notes, sometimes I misplace my notes and sometimes I'm too lazy to go and like look up what I have written down. But so what I do is that I tie knots on my small tail here. So on this one it's 4 knots. That means that I used a 4 millimeter needle. And for this one when I used a 3.5 millimeter needle, I do 3 regular knots and then this half loop thingy over here to show that I used 3.5mm needles. And I just think it's such a genius and convenient way of doing things and making sure that you remember and know what you have done. Yeah, as I mentioned, I do take a lot of notes, but I'm also a very lazy person. So if I'm sitting with my swatch in the sofa and I don't have my notebook close to me, then it will feel like a struggle to go and get a notebook, even though my apartment is very small and it's not that far away. Anyhow, I love to do that, and if you haven't tried it yet, I for sure recommend you to do so. Yeah, I think that was it for this time. Again, I hope that you guys had a very good Easter weekend. I also wish you happy knitting, and thank you so much for watching. If you enjoy this kind of content, I would love it if you would hit subscribe or press the like button, and yeah, I would love it if you would join me again in my videos to come. Thank you so much, take care, and bye.